With a few injured players set to return this weekend and 3 games in the space of 7 days, I figured there was plenty to talk about for the week ahead in this new episode of The Robin's Nest. Alright, we're going to start off with what I think is definitely some good news. So it does look like, and confirmed by Gerhard Struber, that Pring, Neto Borges and Jason Knight should all be available or set to return on Saturday, tomorrow, against Swansea. It also, with Ross McCrory not joining Scotland for international duty, which obviously meant he missed the ridiculous World Cup qualification that he went through, I'm in two minds about whether that was just fatigue related or whether he was maybe carrying a little niggle. But it does look like he's going to be back and available for selection as well. Well, it's all been confirmed by Struber. So those 4 players are fit and ready to come back. And that is obviously really good news because we could do with all of them. The only thing I would say is I am worried, particularly Neto Borges and Jason Knight. Both of those injuries you could relate to being overused. I understand that Pring, his injury was an impact-related one. But with Neto Borges and Jason Knight, it was more, one because of probably tiredness. Jason Knight, I think, did a muscle in his groin, and I think Neto Borges was feeling something in his calf, a bit of tightness or a strain in his calf. So, yeah, good to see these players back. But the one thing I would say is I hope that they don't just get chucked in and play 90 minutes immediately against Swansea. Because, in fact, I think I will do this in this video in a second, is pick a team. But the one worry I would have is that just by shoving these players back in and making them play 90 minutes, which I think Struber has definitely been doing with Neto Borges, he's played 90 minutes countless times at left wing back, which arguably has led to his injury that he picked up. Was it against Blackburn, wasn't it, that he went off injured? And then Jason Knight, I think his injury was related to the fact, he played 90 minutes every game for us and then also went away for Ireland on international duty and played, I think, pretty much 90 minutes every game for them. And as just a quick view, these are the fixtures that we've got coming up, right? So there's a 2-week break in Championship fixtures from, I think, the 4th to the 17th of January. So there's no games in that period of time. So basically, we've got a block of, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fixtures. Yeah, 11 fixtures over the space of like a month and a half. And this week, we've got 3 games in 7 days. So obviously the 12:30 kickoff against Swansea, 7:45 on Wednesday against Wrexham, and then we're back away again at Portsmouth, 12:30 on Saturday the 29th. So, yeah, lots of fixtures in not much time. It's obviously great to have those players back returning from injuries, but again, I repeat, I wouldn't want them to see them playing 90 minutes straight away against Swansea, because I worry, how many players we still have available. We've got still a number of players obviously out injured. We still have a thin squad going into that, 3 games in the space of a week. So with this video, I wanted to focus on the Swansea fixture and the Wrexham fixtures in particular. Now, Swansea are currently in the midst of searching for another manager, and it looks like Darren O'D, if that's how you correctly pronounce it, he's going to take interim charge of Swansea against us. They obviously got rid of their manager recently. They've also had a little bit of an issue trying to get a new manager, in the sense that I think their top target, by the looks of it, a guy called Kim Hellberg, looks to be set to take charge of Middlesbrough. So they've lost out on their top target. Obviously, Alan Sheehan, the guy that was the previous manager of Swansea, has been sacked recently. So they've got an interim manager in charge, which I think in order to prepare for that game, it probably means that you can't 100% predict the way that Swansea play. But I don't know about you, if I was an interim manager taking charge of a team, I probably wouldn't change too much from what the previous manager did. That would be my view. So I would anticipate Swansea to play a similar formation, a similar starting 11 to what they did maybe in their last couple of games, which is what we'll look at now. So here is a quick look at Swansea's recent fixtures. So in the last 3, they drew 1-1 away at Charlton, 2-1 loss to Preston away from home, and then lost 4-1 against Ipswich at home. And previous to that, lost to Man City in the Cup. No real shame in that. Beat Norwich 2-1, lost to QPR, draw against Southampton, lost to Leicester, win against Blackburn, draw, not the best record. So they're not in the best place at the moment in terms of, form. The team that lost 4-1 to Ipswich looked like this. I can't imagine they will start exactly this team if they did have that result. But got Vigouroux in goal, Cabango, Burgess, Samuel Smith along the back line. Although it does look like Samuel Smith got subbed on half time. So did Vidal. Key, Franco, Galbraith, Tiemann as their... So they play a 3-4-3 as well. 2 10s in Vidal, Anusa and Vipotnik up front. I'm going to have a quick look as well at their recent games to see if the teams, for example, against Preston was similar. What was that? They played... Well, that's sort of a 3-4-3, just a more defensive-looking team, isn't it, I guess? Tiemann, Burgess, Casey, Cabango, K, Vigouroux in goal again. Vidal, Galbraith, Franco, Cullen and Adam Eder up front. Interesting. Who did they play before that? Charlton, they drew 1-1. What was their team like in that game? Same sort of 5-4-ish one. It's hard to say whether a 5-4-1, 3-4-3, because they're kind of the same things. You know, 2 sort of wide players, 5 at the back defensively. So they were Tiemann, Burgess, Casey, Cabango, Key, Vigouroux in goal again. Eom, Galbraith, Franco, Pereira, and then Eder up front as well. So, yeah, I guess they'd line up in a 5-4-1/3-4-3 sort of formation. I can't imagine the new manager will change too much from that. And looking at their team, it looks like Galbraith seems to be their best player. I mean, he seems to get really high ratings relatively high ratings in most games. But I wouldn't say he's like their main goal threat, but he seems to be, I don't know, judging by FOTMob ratings, in my personal, very quick formed opinion, looks like Galbraith is probably their best player at the moment. I thought I'd quickly have a go at picking a team. My usual website, Lineup Builder, seems to be down at the moment. So I'm using buildlineup.com, and I'll leave a link in the description to that one. We'll talk about the team, because I think, yes, I said that the players that have returned from injury probably shouldn't come back and play 90 minutes immediately. But in the same breath, we're going to need them, I think, maybe even to start the game with the personnel that we have available. So we've got Vitek in goal. I think we're going with McCrory at left right wing back. He's going there for now. That's fine. We'll move things around. I think it's going to be McCrory, Viner, Dickey, and then there's a question mark, right, for the rest of the back line, because you've got probably 4 players for 2 positions now. You've got Campring, who's just returned, Neto Borges, who's just returned, George Tanner and Hayden Roberts. All of those 4 players, I think, could be involved this weekend. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Neto Borges probably starts and George Tanner probably starts. It's an interesting one, exactly how he would line up, I think. Because in an ideal world, I think the back line would be Borges left wing back, Pring on the left of the 3, Dickey in the middle, Viner on the right of the 3, and McCrory as right wing back. But I'm not exactly sure all of those, particularly Pring, I would be worried about starting Cam Pring. So we'll just fix the team. I'm not a massive fan of Viner at left centre back, but he seems to play the role. I just have a feeling this is how it would be. Borges, Viner, Dickey, Tanner, McCrory. Midfield 2. Well, we can't have Viner there, can we? I have a feeling that Jason Knight is going to start. I think Jason Knight is going to start. I think it's going to be Randall, isn't it? And then it's going to be Mehmeti, Twine, and Reese probably up front if he's back. But yeah, in the same breath, I would definitely think our best team probably involves, instead of Tanner there, you'd have Pring. So we'll just move that. Instead of Tanner there, we'd have Pring. And then Dickey and Viner. That, I think, is our best team. It's just a question of whether Pring is ready to start or whether you want to ease him in off the bench. Remembering we've got 3 games in 7 days. 8 players coming back from injury, some of which have been as a result of overuse. You just don't want them getting injured again, basically. And also, you'd question, particularly Cam Pring, I think, is he fit to play 90 minutes? Probably not, which means you could start with his team, I guess, and bring maybe Roberts off the bench to cover in one of those left-sided positions. Or you don't start Pring. Again, you go back to Tanner on the right, Viner on the left, and then bring Pring in for some minutes towards the end of the game. Or I guess you could bring Tanner in to replace Pring and move Viner to the left. That could be also a way that you play it. But I have a feeling something like this will be the 11 that we go with against Swansea. I was also just going to quickly flash up the league table to see where our opponents lie as well. So Swansea sit 18th 4 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses, and a -4 goal difference. Loss, win, draw, loss in their last 5 games. Our opponents, obviously, after that on Wednesday are Wrexham. They haven't lost in the last 5 up until playing Ipswich on Saturday. Got a 3 o'clock kickoff away at Ipswich. They've won 3, drawn 2 in the last 5. So not in really too bad form at all. 5 wins, 6 draws, 4 losses, +1 on the goal difference. And actually, the difference between us two are 2 points as things stand. Just going to have, obviously, the Wrexham preview will be more applicable after they play Ipswich, but I'm going to have a look at their teams anyway because I think it's just useful. So the last result was a 1-0 win on the 8th against Charlton. In that game, they played a 3 at the back, a 3-5-1-1 apparently. Lots of 3 at the back championship teams. Clayworth, Scar, Hyam, and Okonkwo in goal. The goalkeeper got man of the match. Kabore, who, if that's the guy that played for Ipswich, is absolutely rapid and really quite dangerous. Dobson, Sheaf, Thomason, Longman, Broadhead, and Kiefer Moore up front, who's obviously our nemesis as a result of the playoffs. So that was their team in that game. Who did they line up with against Portsmouth? They drew 0-0 in this one. They played 2 up front. They've obviously got Windass, O'Brien, Matty James, Kabore. So that gives you an idea of the kinds of teams that they'll line up with. They do seem, let's see who they've got on the bench. They do have a bit of bench. They do. They've got a bit of bench sort of. Maybe have some players to bring off the bench, I guess. But I think Wrexham probably pose a tougher test for us than Swansea do. But in the typical Bristol City fashion, it leads me to think which game of the two are we actually most likely to win? Because sometimes against teams, maybe like Swansea, that could park the bus against us, we struggle. And teams that go at us, try and attack, we tend to do really well. So I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to get out of the last couple games. We'll finish off by trying to predict it, though. So, Swansea game. The one factor I would say that plays at hand in this game is that it's a Saturday 12:30 kickoff. And I think any club, it's not just something you can say against Bristol City, I think it's hard to get a really bouncing home atmosphere at 12:30 p.m. So I do think it will be a 12:30 p.m. crowd. I don't think it will be quite the buzzing atmosphere we would want from Ashton Gate. It's just the way it is at that time. But I still think we should beat Swansea. Wrexham, I think we can win the game, but I would honestly, probably with the players we have available and how close they are to us in the league, I wouldn't be upset if we got a point. Depends how the point played out, but I think if we get a result from Wrexham, that would be something. Portsmouth, we're playing them away on the following Saturday as well. I'd probably expect to win against Portsmouth. I've seen, which is weird because I think Mousinho was a manager that was linked to Bristol City in the summer. A lot of Portsmouth fans very happy with him at that time. And I don't think this is a consensus across Portsmouth fans, but I have seen some on Twitter not so happy with Mousinho of recent. So that might be a good game for us to win. I think we should beat Swansea. Hopefully, I think we should get a result out of Wrexham and then hopefully win at Portsmouth. But we'll cover the Portsmouth game sometime this week. That would be quick little preview from me of the next 3 games. All right, that's the end of the video. I couldn't get a whole lot of content in this one, but hopefully it was still useful to preview the week we've got coming up. I've had a ridiculously busy week this week with stuff going on, but I committed to doing 1 Robin's Nest channel video a week. So this is my commitment continuing. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments what you think we're going to get out of the coming games. And I do think team selection is of utmost importance because, yes, we might have some players returning from injury, but I wouldn't want to see them overused straight away, considering the volume of fixtures that we have. So that's the key takeaway from me. If you haven't already as well, please subscribe to the Robin's Nest channel, which should be just there on your screen. And I'm just left to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.